Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Church in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Good morning. Everybody has faces I remember, but I'm the Reverend Claire Donaldson, visiting you here from Salem, Massachusetts. I was telling Kit, this is my favorite place that I like to join with for worship. It is, I always look forward to it because I'm coming with friends, so I don't feel funky of, I don't know anybody. Anyway, moving on. This is the second Sunday in Advent. Last week was Sunday of Hope, and this is the Sunday of Peace. So I'll talk about that a little later. But it's interesting to think about peace with all that went on in Syria overnight. So something to keep in mind. You are beloved and you are welcome here. Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth, you are beloved and you are welcome here. Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful, you are beloved and you are welcome here. Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside, or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort, you are beloved and you are welcome here. Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises, you are beloved and you are welcome here. Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment, you are beloved and you are welcome here. In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together. So with our chalice lighting today, Richard has graciously agreed to light the chalice, and then he will light the Advent candles right after that. So it'll just be a nice fluid thing. But the words for all that are by Erica Hewitt. This is the season of endings and beginnings, when the small signs of dawn pierce through the night and something new is born. But first comes the waiting. First come the lessons of endings and beginnings, the presence of life. The sheltering spirit of love grieves with those sweeping up the debris of loss, waits with those who restlessly reach out for change, grants us courage in the night to guard against each other's dreams for this holy, wondrous universe. Grant us, O universe, unfolding in mystery, a sense of your timing. May we loosen our grip on that which doesn't serve us, leaving behind that which we have outworn and outgrown. Teach us the lessons of beginnings. Remind us that such waitings and endings may be a starting place, a planting of seeds which bring to birth what is ready to be born. Something right and just and different, a new song, a deeper relationship, a fuller love in the fullness of time. Let's join together for hymn number 224 in your gray hymnal, Let Christmas Come. Christmas come, its story told, when days are short and winds are cold. Let Christmas come, its lovely song, when evening soon and night is long. Christmas come, its great star glow, on brighter sea, in parks of snow. Christmas come, its tables sung, please be seated. And in your hymnal, if you will find reading I think I have the wrong number here. 471, yes, but that's not matching with what I wanted it to be. But that's okay. That's fine. You already know this one anyway. No, that's okay. So because I don't remember where to find it, so. Okay. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. All right, there it is. Does anyone have any announcements this morning? Thank you. Yep. I am very happy to be here.
That next week, Ken Reeves will be also at Crete. And his service is going to be something about Christmas or. That'd be great. And I wanted to say, in Eric's absence, in our beloved friend's absence, and truly missing him, thank you, Richard, for agreeing to print off the orders of service for all of us.
Good morning, all. So next Sunday, Jim Donnelly has been passing out tickets for an event where he will be performing with others. And Susan, the newer Susan, Susan and I are planning to go, and I have room in my car if you want to come after church, maybe go have Nancy and Jim recommend a brush on Bridgewater, West Bridgewater. And so I offer 3 seats if you'd like to sit close to the back seat. Or if Susan gives up the front seat, I don't know. But you're invited to come home with me if you want to join us at this holiday event that Jim is part of.
And I just want to apologize for doing a comedy sketch at the beginning of the service and interrupting.
It was fine. I am not one that minds humor and laughter. My favorite thing.
So just let everyone know that the Wednesday discussion group on different topics of spirituality is taking place. We're doing a whole course. It's called the Great Courses, and it's a course on Gnosticism. And what we do is we watch a video of Professor Baki, I think, from Ohio State. He gives a lecture for about 20 minutes, and then we discuss what the lecture was. But Gnosticism is a secret heretical text of Christianity just before, I guess, Constantine, and it became secret afterwards. But it's very interesting to see how Christianity is not some strict, dogmatic kind of study. It has a lot of different benches. And also, after this, the United Interfaith Action, you want to announce it?
So one would think, let's use the space. We're having our annual meeting today. Sorry.
This is the right one.
It was a wish list. So thank you for letting us use, the back space to have our, host our annual meeting. We appreciate it, it's the first time.
And it's open, right?
It's an annual meeting.
Yeah. It's an open meeting, anybody's welcome to attend.
That's up to them.
That's United Interfaith Action, that's the meeting that's happening.
It's a political action group that we're radicals,
Thank you
we're
for
radical instigators
We're
in
a
the city.
nonprofit, not political.
It's political.
There's a potluck today, and if you do not bring anything, don't go home unless you want to go home. Please feel free to join us anyway, after the service. And, one other thing, if you're new, if you've only started attending recently, please, if you haven't, give us your email address on the guest book out there. We promise we won't be like Walgreens and send you for the rest of your life. We'll just have you one occasionally and tell you what's going on.
Yeah, when I say political, I should say it's like our church. We accept all denominations of political actions. But if you're interested in the activities of what's going on in terms of social justice, we don't care what political party you're in. Come and join us because we all have something in common.
And if anyone has clothing for the homeless, we are collecting donations for it, for the winter time, hats, gloves and stuff. But there was a question asked from someone today. Think of thermal underwears, t-shirts, homeless people who live outside, dress in the layers. They don't want to be bulky and have huge things. They want to have a couple, they'll wear 2 shirts, I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants because it's windy and the wind goes through. And it's a common thing with the homeless, is dressing in layers, thermal, the long ones, the shirts, things like that are common things that people don't think of that are very well needed. And I know many people would always say, oh, I wish I had some thermals, I wish I had thermals, because they wear 3 pairs of pants. So I always think of something like that, as we always want to say, we want to bless our homeless in our city of Fall River.
I don't think we're gonna know that. I just wanted to let everybody know that there's a car traveling around from all of us to Eric. And so when it's finished, it comes back to me and I'll address it in the for us.
It's lovely. Okay. Today's reading is entitled Radical Expectations by Robin Tanner. Robin was a classmate of mine when I was in seminary. She was a Harvard student and I was a BU student, but the UUs took all their UU courses at Harvard. So we had two sets of classmates. It was delightful. I was holding my breath. The firefighter must have noticed. You can go outside, you know. You don't have to wait for the alarm to go off. I exhaled. Oh, right. I had been waiting for the fire department to initiate the alarm for our fire drill at our congregation. Because every time we have overnight guests, we have to do a test. Youth lock-ins, social justice fastings, retreats, and impromptu requests all mean a call to the fire department. I had come to hate those 3 minutes of waiting. And then there it was. I could go outside. As I waited outside, I considered all the times I had simply accepted the terms of engagement, the rules of waiting. How many times have I been compliant because of a lack of power? Because I play by the rules, because I've been trained to do so. Sometimes waiting is not faithful. Sometimes waiting is the worst thing we can do. Sometimes waiting is just a game that keeps the status quo running on time. I don't believe that Advent is a season of waiting passively. Instead, this time in the Christian story is about expectation. Radical expectations that undo the status quo and anticipation. A skillful search for the places where liberation rises from the ashes. Here ends the reading. Please join me in our antiphonal reading, which was the one I thought was the other one. Number 616. For so the children come. So I will read the bold text and you will read the italics, please. For so the children come, and so they have been coming. No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. They ask, where and how will this new life end, or will it ever end? Each night a child is born. A time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worship. Thank you. Just trying to get myself organized. This morning's prayer and meditation, I would like us to remember Eric Darling and his health struggles right now, that he gets well soon with comfort and peace. I'd like us to think about the people in Syria who had a major change overnight. we need to remember all the people in the Ukraine still fighting, still with unrest. And the people in the Holy Land, with Gaza, with Lebanon, with Israel. These are very difficult times. And I pray that they all find peace sooner rather than later. 'Tis the season of advertisers run amok and ambitions amplified beyond belief, of Martha Stewart moments mixed with desert island dreams, even when the most dedicated holiday hopper admits perfection. Isn't it possible and good enough is how the season ought to be? 'Tis the season of post-inebriated Santas blocking with consumer guilt the way to one too many holiday mad stores. When glad tidings of busyness keep us from the news that nostalgia ain't what it used to be. When we deal with the gap between what we should and could be doing and what is possible in the reality of today. The season when all the dreams you've ever dreamed of being but aren't return, reminding you of once what you once could be. For all this and more, I say to you and to me, this is the season for generosity of spirit, for giving of the heart without counting cost, for forgiving those who are not here or not here as we would need. Amen. Let's join together for hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath. This is one of my favorite ones. Life, though with pain I my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream, in my heart, always keeping loose and start. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. The best answer yes to love. To someone who pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. Tell me I said yes to love. Please be seated. When I was a kid, the only thing Advent was about was the nice candles and that it got us closest to Christmas. I could not have told you anything else about Advent. I was raised in the Catholic Church, and they only tell you what they want you to know. So it's different now. It's not like when I was a child in the 60s and you never heard anything interesting. So, however, at my home church, First Church in Salem, Unitarian Universalists, I think we do a great job explaining not just to our children, but to the congregation, what the theme of each week is about. Hope, peace, joy, and love. And my son had a much greater understanding about it as a child than I did, and I was very happy for that. So what I'm going to talk about today is some historical stuff, but it kind of puts things in perspective, okay? Advent is a season observed in most Christian denominations as a time of waiting and preparation for both the celebration of Jesus' birth at Christmas and the Trinitarian anticipation of the return of Christ for the second coming. It begins on the fourth Sunday before Christmas, often referred to as Advent Sunday. Advent is the beginning of the liturgical year in Western Christianity, New Year's Day. The name comes from the Latin adventus, coming arrival, and translating the Greek parousia from the New Testament, originally referring to the second coming. The season of Advent in most Christian denomination calendars anticipates the coming of Christ from three different perspectives: the physical nativity in Bethlehem, the reception of Christ in the heart of the believer, and the eschatological second coming. In our unique, loving, understanding, and respectful faith, we make our own choices. Practices associated with Advent include Advent calendars, lighting the Advent wreath, praying an Advent daily devotional, as well as other ways of preparing for the season, such as setting up decorations, a custom that is sometimes done liturgically through a hanging of the green ceremony. It is not known when the period of preparation for Christmas that is now called Advent began, though it was certainly in existence from about 480. The novelty introduced by the Council of Tours in 567 was to order monks to fast every day in the month of December until Christmas. Good thing there were no parties then. According to J. Neil Alexander, it is impossible to claim with confidence a credible explanation of the origin of Advent. Associated with Advent as a time of penance was a period of fasting, known also as St. Martin's Lent or the Nativity Fast. Perhaps our waistline might be happier with a day or two of fasting. Just a thought. According to St. Gregory of Tours, the celebration of Advent began in the 5th century when Bishop Perpetuus directed that starting with St. Martin's Day on November 11th until Christmas, one fasts 3 times per week. That is why Advent was sometimes also named the Lent of St. Martin. This practice remained limited to the Diocese of Tours until the 6th century. The Council of Macon, held in 581, adopted the practice in Tours. And soon all of France observed 3 days of fasting a week from the Feast of St. Martin until Christmas. The most devout worshipers in some countries exceeded the requirements adopted by the council and fasted every day of Advent. The first clear references in the Western Church to Advent occur in the Gelasian Sacramentary, which provides Advent prayers, epistles, and gospels for the Sundays preceding Christmas. The homilies of Gregory the Great in the late 6th century showed 4 weeks to the liturgical season of Advent, but without the observance of a fast. Charlemagne in the 9th century, his writings claim that the fast was still widely observed. The liturgy of Advent remained unchanged until the Second Vatican Council introduced minor changes, differentiating the spirit of Lent from that of Advent, expressing Advent as a season of hope for Christ's coming. English settlers who traveled to the New World brought the debate over Christmas with them. By the late 16th century, a group of Protestant reformers known as Puritans sought to purify the Church of England and purge it of Roman Catholic traditions they saw as excessive. This included Christmas, which had roots in the pagan Roman winter festivals of Saturnalia, as well as the Norse festival of Yule. At the time, celebrations of Christmas in England lasted for nearly 2 weeks, from the day of Jesus Christ's birth, December 25th, to 12th day, January 6th, and consisted of rowdy celebrations, including feasting, gambling, drinking, and masquerade balls. Like those they left behind in England, the settlers who came to the New World were divided on whether and how to celebrate Christmas. For the settlers who arrived in Virginia in 1607, Christmas was an important holiday. While celebrations may have been limited, given the harsh realities of life in the struggling New Jamestown settlement, they preserved it as a sacred occasion and a day of rest. By the 1620s and 30s, Christmas was established as a benchmark in the legislative calendar of the Virginia colony. Laws on the books in 1631, for example, stated that churches were to be built in areas that needed them before, quote, the feast of the nativity of our Savior Christ, unquote. By contrast, our friends and neighbors, the Pilgrims of Plymouth Colony, belonged to a Puritan sect known as Sapara. The following year, when a group of newly arrived settlers refused to work on Christmas Day, Governor Bradford let them off the hook until they could become, quote, better informed, unquote. But he drew a firm line after he found them playing games while everyone else worked. If they made the keeping of Christmas a matter of devotion, Let them keep their houses, Bradford wrote. But there should be no gaming or reveling in the streets. They treated their first Christmas in the New World as just one more working day. Governor William Bradford noted in his diary that the colonists began building the colony's first house on December 25th, 1620. The bitter differences between Puritans and Anglicans would eventually lead to the First English Civil War, 1642 to 46, after which Puritans came to power and banned the celebration of Christmas, Easter, and the various saints' days. In their strict view of the Bible, only the Sabbath was sacred. Christmas, with its pagan roots, was especially unacceptable. Massachusetts Bay Colony, founded in 1630 by a group of Puritan refugees from England, followed this example. According to a law passed in 1659, whosoever shall be found observing any such day as Christmas or the like, either by forbearing of labor, feasting, or any other way, would be slapped with a 5-shilling fine. In 1681, after the English Civil Wars ended and the monarchy was restored, Massachusetts gave in to mounting pressure and repealed some of its most restrictive laws, including the ban on Christmas. Puritan opposition to Christmas remained strong throughout the colonial period. Most businesses often remained open on December 25th, and Massachusetts didn't officially recognize the holiday until the mid-19th century. And then came the blue laws, and no retail establishment could be open on Sunday. Kind of confusing. So, what does all this have to do with us, Unitarian Universalists in the 21st century? Whatever we celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or Yule, we all know too well how busy the preparations for the winter holidays can be. Some of us celebrate more than one event, so preparations may become exponentially overwhelming. At some point, society decided that a Norman Rockwell or Good Housekeeping celebration was what we should strive for. How clean does the house have to be? Will Miss Manners attending with her white gloves on? How many varieties of cookies do you need to bake? Everyone looks forward to each different cookie, but perhaps you can rotate your variety every year. How much time and money do you want to spend shopping and wrapping? Do all the adults in the extended family really need a gift? Try having the adults draw names and just get that one gift. Focusing on that one person could be more fun than worrying that you have something for everyone. How can we get everything done and still go to the parties, the caroling, or the nutcracker performances? Here's a secret. You don't have to go to everything. With your family or partner, pick which ones you really want to go to and send your regrets to the others. You don't need an excuse. We're not available at that time is just fine. Preparations do not need to be overwhelming. Our anticipations can be different. The 4 Sundays of Advent, hope, peace, joy, and love. What would it be like if you focused on the theme once or twice a week? Each one has endless possibilities for reflection, participation, and family togetherness. Maybe try doing an episode of kindness each day during Advent. It can be a dinner table discussion, or instead of a party, have the family go shopping together for the person or family you chose in your stocking project. Everyone has an idea what others might like, and kids know much better than we do what is a hit for their peers. Instead of going to a concert, make a favorite family meal, or just order pizza or whatever else, and gather together and play holiday DJ. Everyone writes down a few of their favorite holiday songs, then you pick titles out of a hat, one by one. Thinking about peace is not easy. Not with a war in Ukraine, the shaky ceasefire in the Holy Lands, Syria. Violence is found everywhere, in schools, neighborhoods, government, on our streets. Violence is as strong as the fear, sadness, hurt, or disappointment that exists to feed the flames of anger and action. We cannot solve all the lack of peace by ourselves. We can model loving, respectful, and peaceful actions in our day-to-day interactions. Our children, family, friends, co-workers, and colleagues will be impacted by our behavior. The examples we set are more powerful than the words we use. During Advent, and really all of the time, we have an opportunity to be the love in the world we all wish to receive. The season of Advent is a time for preparation. We each have to decide our own focus, our own balance of inward and outward preparation. I know it can be hard when you want to fulfill everybody's wishes, desires, and traditions. Once you let that go, you do not have to do everything. You can focus on what is important to you. The actual celebration of whatever day or days should be joyous and loving, not just a time to finally sit down and take a breath. If you forgot to pick up something, you don't need it. Family and friends will adjust to your plans. They may give you some grumbling, but you know you are taking care of yourself and your loved ones. Happy every holiday to everyone. At this time, the offertory for the work of this congregation will be given and gratefully accepted. Are there any joys or concerns people would like to share today?
Good morning. I just want to warn you all that I brought a gingerbread house to the pop, and it's actually a lighthouse. So one of my sisters had a little get together yesterday, and she made these gingerbread lighthouses, and everybody decorated. And it was 3 people from my generation, me and my 2 sisters. The next generation, there were 6, and then there were little kids. There were 5 little kids, so it was a day of noise and sugar, and it was crazy. And I'd be so grateful if you take a whack at that gingerbread house and eat some of it, because otherwise I'm stuck with the whole thing in my house. And I did bring up cookies. She did a really good job. It is a good gingerbread, so go for it.
Thank you.
I got to see Eric on Thursday, and he was lying down, looking good, seeming to be completely with it, seeming to be a little tired, but otherwise being as he always is. And was talking about, Diane had told him something about he wouldn't be able to drive for a long time. He said, "This is ridiculous, I'm going to be driving right away." It's whole work life, there's so many places to drive. A lot of it, he's not going to put up with the streets. Anyway, he looked good, and Diane told me this morning that he told me yesterday that he is no longer in the cardiac intensive care unit, but in what's called a step down unit. It's not yet a normal hospital room, but it's one step closer to that. So,
Does he have any procedures coming? Like any additional, like stents?
are there procedures coming up that I know of?
Yeah.
I hear that one of his arteries is completely blocked, and there's no cure for that.
Oh,
But then the others are fine, so they don't need anything. So,
When I signed his card, I was tempted to write, "Please slow down," and
I know exactly.
and it was a waste of time.
Thank you for being here.
Are there any others? I truly understand the just slow down. I had a mild stroke last year, just about this time. And slowing down was not in my nature either. And I had to do what to me was the most painful, was to have to let Kit know I couldn't come for the Christmas service because I was so looking forward to it. So it's a tough thing. So, all right, please join together in our last hymn, number 225, O Come, Emmanuel. shall dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel, come within as love to dwell. Come, oh come, splendor ray of light, as joy that never yields to mind. Oh, come and turn all hearts to peace, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell. Come, oh come, spring cheer, our spirits by your presence here, and on in every broken soul, as rich and that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel, within as light to dwell. Come, you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide the truth within a sigh, to conquer knowledge with our care, to render every act of prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to dwell. I found 2 different readings for closing words, and I couldn't choose, so you get them both. We are waiting. This is the season of anticipation, of expecting, of hoping, of wanting. This is the time of expecting the arrival of something or someone. We are waiting. This is the time of living in darkness, in the hues of unknowing, of being quiet, of reflecting on a year almost past, waiting for a new beginning, for a closing or an end. This is the time for digesting the lessons of days gone past, anticipating the future for which we are waiting. Waiting for a world which can know justice. Waiting for a lasting peace. Waiting for the bridge to span the divides which separate us. Waiting for a promise or a hope. For all this, we are waiting. And the final benediction. Go into the world with assurance, hope, and promise. 'Tis the grace of the word of life rest upon you. The love of the source of life embrace you, and the transforming power of the breath of life help, strengthen, and surprise you this day and all of your days. Amen. Thank you,